What do Asians in the UK think about Asian Americans? Well, let's talk to a British Asian guy. What's up, Will?
Yo, what's going on, Andrew? It's your boy, Will. I'm here visiting New York and here to break it down.
Yes, guys, that is his real accent. For sure, legit. Will, thank you for being here. You're a finance bro over in London. Sir. You're born and raised in London. You're still currently live there, but you're going to break it down. What do like UK Asians think about Asian Americans? Because maybe as Asian Americans, sometimes we can be a little ungrateful, but maybe we just need to hear about your guys' situation. I'm just kidding. But
yeah, it might be worse here.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're a true, Asian bloke, Chinese bloke?
Yeah,
what's
100%.
your background? What's your exact background?
Yeah, so I'm Vietnamese Chinese. So yeah, I think most Asians in the UK, you're either from Hong Kong or I guess Vietnam.
Wait. When we say Asians, we're talking about East Asians.
Yeah, I'm talking about East Asians to you. But I guess if you use Asians in the UK, you might be referring to South Asians. But it's kind of interchangeable now, you know. Like no one really says Oriental. Like that might be I don't know. Is that a bad word?
Definitely don't. It's just old school. Yeah, it's outdated.
Okay,
But yo, do you guys have any nicknames for British Asians? Like,
nah, not necessarily. Like UK Asians.
All right, what about
British
this ASEAN blokes?
maybe like if you said that 20 years ago.
What about Brasians? British Asian. I don't know if it's gonna stick. Anyways, what about just Chinese?
Chinese. I mean, you say that for food, but if you refer to us as Chinese, then I don't know. That's a bit mad. Okay, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, let's just dive into it, man. Everybody, if you guys are interested in this video, please hit that like button. Check out Will's links down below. He also makes some content himself. But yeah, how do UK Asians view Asian Americans, being that the assumption is that Asian Americans probably produce most of the Western Asian content, right? Whether it's Hollywood, all the YouTubers, TikTokers, they're probably the most famous. There's some from Australia. I've seen some from Britain, but really Asian Americans make a lot of content. I guess, how do UK Asians of your age view them?
Yeah, you know, I guess we grew up watching, the Asian American YouTubers, Nikki Higa, Kev Jumba, you guys, for example. And then, we kind of transitioned along the times to, Rice Gum maybe, Jimmy Zhang, and then you got the TikTokers. But I think generally we get our representation from you guys. I know that it's not, 100% the same. We do have a lot of parallels though. But yeah, I think it's something that we're pretty envious about, right? Because we don't really have an established British Asian culture. Like if you used to ask a random British Asian, oh, what do you think, British Asians like to do? Like you might get different answers from different kinds of people, right?
Right. So you guys are jealous of these Kevin Wynn, Boba, ABG memes.
To some extent. I mean...
well, it shows that we have something. We have something.
No, exactly. Yeah, you guys have something to talk about at least, right?
Right.
So, that's not something that we have. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe in 10, 15 years' time, but...
I guess, now, is there pop-in boba shops? Like boba is worldwide now. Are they becoming places where Asians, and when we talk about Asians, obviously we're referring to East Asians, but let's be honest, most of the East Asians, the vast majority in the UK are what? Chinese or Chinese Vietnamese descent? Yeah,
I'd say so. You have like a decent Filipino community as well. Maybe Nepalese as well. But yeah, Chinese and Viet Chinese. Okay, a lot of them for sure.
So I mean, if you got a Chinese population, I'm assuming the boba's got to be popping.
Yeah, I mean, the boba chains, a lot of them, they either came from Asia. So, for example, like Haiti. You guys have Yifang as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have like Cha Time, Cup of Cha. A lot of those ones. But yeah, like a lot of them, you can find them in a lot of different places now, not just Chinatown. And a lot of them will have, I guess, British Asians or people who like boba, but also like the Haitis and the other ones, you have a lot of international Chinese students as well. So I think international Chinese students actually make up quite a lot of the Asian population that you'll see day to day in London. So if you see like a group of Asian people in London, they might be international Chinese. Right.
Yeah. Do you guys, do you see the differentiation between like within Asian Americans, sometimes there's an internal conversation and it's popped up, whether it's through our videos or more recently, like the 949, was one of the podcasts out there, but they were talking about like, SoCal Asians, East Coast Asians, where it's like, even amongst Asian Americans, SoCal Asians, or at least that vibe and that culture, and maybe I'll just say California Asians in general, including the Bay, are responsible for a lot of the kind of like Asian American media, even primarily. Of course, there's creators from all over, but because like the SoCal Asian life seems to be almost the most typical of ABG, Boba, Asian America, you know, like whatever we call that, you know. And obviously we've talked about this on the channel for many years. So I guess how do you view SoCal Asians? Is there a differentiation?
I mean, I don't think the average British Asian would be able to differentiate between the differences in New York Asians, East Coast Asians versus, I guess, Californian Asians or, you know, West Coast Asians. But yeah, I think we see SoCal Asians as like the cool guys, the guys, you know, they like to party, they like their cars, you know, they go to the gym, for example.
The rave Asians.
Yeah, the rave
Asians is definitely more West Coast. Like
yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'd argue maybe like down south as well, like the Texas Asians. I've met some of them guys. They're quite cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess SoCal Asians, they're the guys that have, I guess, been around together for the longest and like created an identity the longest, right? So maybe from the 90s with like, you know, the JDM cars and I don't know what else they were doing.
No. You did your research.
Yeah, that, you know, like that kind of culture that did, you know, come and it spread in the UK a little bit as well.
Yes.
And then I'd say that like, you know, in the 2000s and 2010s, you know, that kind of died down a little bit. And then, you know, we were kind of like trying to find our feet a little bit there. But yeah, not really much differentiation. I mean, I think the average person would probably be able to guess that like, you know, if you're like a East Coast Asian, then, you know, maybe you have that more New York slang.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're like a finance bro, tech
bro.
I
would say New York slang and London slang does have more crossover.
A little bit. I'd say Toronto slang and London slang for sure.
Right.
New York slang a little bit, I'd say.
Bruv, you know what I started? I'm not going to lie. I swear. And my brother and my friends can attest this. I started saying bruv in text instead of bruh just because I feel like I like the sound of bruv.
Yeah, bro.
And it's kind of funny. And I even said, it started as like a lot of things start off kind of as for fun or a joke.
Right? Yeah.
But then it just like starts to roll and you're like, I kind of like to say bruv.
Yeah.
You know, I don't say it in real life, but in text, I'll always be like, bruv.
Okay.
Like, yo, bruv. I didn't start saying mum
sometimes.
Yet. Mum. I might start using mum. It's kind of funny.
Mum?
Just to switch it up. Yeah, from mom.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
Let me switch gears to let's talk about dating, because dating in the UK as an Asian, I've always like wondered about. I have yet to go to London, so let me know if I should go out to London. But I guess like, do UK Asian guys, how do they view Asian American women? Do they romanticize them?
100%, I'd say 100%. Especially like the Gen Z kind of, you know, UK Asians, right?
Just say
like,
it. It's the ABGs, man.
ABGs, man. Like, you don't have ABGs in the UK, basically. Like, you have some that like have taken the style a little bit,
right,
but you won't find like a group of them hanging together.
Yo, I feel like the ones,
you just won't.
I feel like the girls who can pull off the ABG look in London, I would imagine they are getting some attention.
Oh yeah, for sure. I could argue that as well. I've probably seen that around a little bit as well.
So like,
yeah.
I mean, I also think like the culture and the climate is not conducive. It's so different than SoCal. You know, I grew up in Seattle, so the climate's very much like London from what I've heard. You know, very foggy, overcast all the time. You know, it snows, but it's not really snow heavy. It's really just cold and chilly and foggy.
Yeah, it's pretty mild.
Yeah. It's not a pretty weather.
Yeah.
But like, so I guess like, are like within British Asian dude circles, are you guys all sharing these ABG memes, being like, oh damn, these girls are fine? I mean, hey, they got a lot of ABGs in Australia too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, no, we definitely share those kind of memes, right? Like, you know, as we were saying earlier, like we do see a lot of those kind of content.
Do you think there's something about British culture that doesn't? It's just like the more British you are, maybe the less ABG you'll be. Because if I had to put the cultures on a spectrum. Like whatever ABG culture comes from, which is like SoCal, Asian, primarily Southeast Asian, primarily Vietnamese and Chinese culture there, and then comparing it to what is considered stereotypically London, British, Victorian culture, or whatever, the remnants of it. I know not everybody's like, praise the queen, you know, but I'm saying like, I guess those cultures seem pretty like far from each other. Am I kind of fair in saying that?
Yeah, I think you are fair to say that. I mean, you know, there's like a plethora of reasons, right? Like, I guess you can argue that, like, firstly, we don't have the population. So I think, like, in London, you probably have like 1.7% of the population of London are Chinese. Like, there's not even a figure for East Asians because that's categorized as just Asians, right? Including South Asians, right? Yeah, I guess broadly speaking in the UK, maybe like less than 1%. So we just don't have the population. And I guess a lot of us are kind of scattered about for a number of reasons. Like, for example, the, you know, Hong Kong people that came over in the 60s and 70s, they came to set up takeaways and stuff, right? And in order to avoid competition, they kind of like split up and went into different towns so that those kind of Asians didn't really get to hang out with other Asians. But yeah, I'll say that like it's probably to do with the weather as well, as you were saying. And yeah, I guess, you know, London's like a really small place. Like you probably can't drive those JDM cars like fast.
Where are the other Asian pockets outside of London? Like that
definitely Manchester and Liverpool. So that's kind of up north. You know,
do they have their own social scenes going on? Like, do they have restaurants or kick it places, like, you know, like venues like that they'll chill at?
Venues, I'm not sure, but like I do have a boy who like sets up events in Manchester and Liverpool, and they're always popping. Like,
so once in a while, when an event does pop off, but it's not maybe like an every week thing.
Nah, not like an every week. Right. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I'm not from Manchester, right?
But it might not have literally the population to do a every week thing. Maybe, you know.
Yeah. I mean, no, defo like. There is a population because not only do you have the people from Manchester, but a lot of people go to these universities, right? Like University of Manchester, University of Liverpool, you know, some other universities within that area as well. Yeah, there will be some Asians there for sure.
But it is safe to say that all Asian guys across the world are attracted to the ABG style.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, like we don't have that in the UK, right? I mean, when you see that on TikTok and
it's
Instagram,
something
like,
so intoxicating. Do UK Asian women, British Asian women, do you think that they kind of romanticize Asian American men? How are like, does it go both ways?
I would say not as much. Right. I mean, you know, if you're in school and, you know, you're a girl and you're on Asian American TikTok, then like you'll see some guys, maybe on the Explore page as well. But yeah, just not as much, right? I feel like the Instagram algorithm, it'll show you more girls than guys, like whether you're a girl or a guy.
I mean, Asian women are more popular than Asian guys, for
yeah,
sure.
Exactly. But yeah, probably not so much. But I think they can appreciate the fact that, you know, Asian American guys, you know, they like to go to the gym, they have fun. Yeah, maybe they work hard, play hard as well, you know.
So maybe the fervor for Asian American men isn't quite like that, but they do. Well, you would say some British Asian women do have a taste for like that Kevin Wynn tattoo, kind of ripped guy, rave bay.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, if you're wearing a black tee and a chain and you got some tats, then, you know, you probably do well.
I mean, you're wearing a black shirt and a chain. It's not maybe a tee, but
okay,
yeah. I got a tattoo with a black shirt right now, so who's to say I'm not being 20%?
We're not beating the allegations, man.
No. What about media representation in UK? Like, obviously, to be honest, I have not had too many shows that involved UK Asians come my way. Yeah. I've seen some creators a little bit here or there. And Central C, if we consider him part Asian, which he is definitely part Chinese, but you know, he's not really repping it, which is fine, whatever. I don't expect it. But like, yeah, I guess as far as media representation, how do you guys, so it's like, you mentioned that you're always looking to Asian America. Are UK Asians kind of like fighting or complaining at least, or making a ruckus about not getting representation in the UK media enough? Or are you guys like, well, we have America?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit of both. So we don't really, you know, make a raucous. I feel like UK Asians, or I guess UK culture in general, we're quite conservative. Like we're the type to like make a sly or slick comment here and there. But like, you know, we kind of just deal with it at the end of the day. And then, you know, if you mix that with Asian culture, you know, which is, you know, quite conservative, then that doesn't really lead to any, I guess, trailblazer Asians, I guess, taking a, you know, non-traditional path. So yeah, obviously as a UK Asian, like I can barely think of any names on the top of my head, any UK Asian celebs that rep Asians, right?
Like
that
rep it though. That
yeah,
really
exactly. Like you really can't think of anyone really.
I mean, Gemma Chan, Henry Golding, he's mixed.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Henry Golding's like, he's like from Asia as well, I guess.
Right.
Gemma Chan doesn't really talk about being Asian too much, although she was on Crazy Rich Asians. You know, Benedict Wong, he's been in the game for a little bit.
You guys, Nigel Ng he was growing up in London doing his stand-up and then became Uncle Roger in London.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's based in London now.
Right.
But, you know, like, you know, we were saying, he's not from, you know, UK, right?
Right.
So, you actually see a lot of content creators and people that aren't from the UK come to the UK and create content. Like, you can say that that's sort of UK Asian representation as well. Like, these guys do take up a proportion of that representation.
Yeah, if they come to the UK and make it there, then it still sort of counts, but maybe they're not homegrown.
No, exactly. And that just further emphasizes the lack of homegrown kind of content.
There's Phil
creators
Wang,
and
that
celebrities,
comedian.
right?
You know,
true.
The Wasian guy.
Yeah,
He's
no,
British, right?
him.
Okay, so he's, but yeah, I mean, he kind of reps it, debatable depending on which subreddit you're on. I guess, I mean, shout out. There's a lot more. When you sent me the list of like Asian organizations, it seems like there is some, maybe they're not the biggest organizations, but there are people trying to get things going. Bunch of Bananas, I've talked about, shout out to their podcast. There's another podcast, Bamboo Ceiling one.
And then there's like, you know, Eastern Honeys. There are a few other podcasts as well.
The guys from the New Territories.
Yeah, New Territory, shout out New Territories.
The calisthenics, the pull-up guys. The bar guys.
Let's go. I go to them sessions. Come on.
Wait, so you guys like calisthenics out there? Okay.
That's the thing. I didn't actually know there was like an Asian population that like calisthenics, but you know, those guys are leading the way, right?
Right.
Like, I learned how to do muscle up through these guys.
Right. We got calisthenic Asians, but they're just like this old ripped dudes at the Chinatown like jungle gym. They're there all day. I guess like let's talk about nightlife, social life real quick in London. Like let's say, hypothetically, if I was to take a trip to London and I wanted to party with some Asians, could I do it on a given Friday, Saturday night? Where would I go? What would it be like?
Yeah, I mean, there is a spot that's like, you know, on every Friday or Saturday, but it's not that popping in my opinion, no offense.
You saying it's not the hottest?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, if you go, then like, you know, you're probably, I don't know, an international student or like just looking for like some easy game. But I'd say like the average British Asian, or at least like my friends, and I know a lot of people like mutuals and stuff, they probably wouldn't go. But there are like nice Asian events like every now and then, right? And they're quite popping, like they're always sold out. You know, you'd have a lot of UK Asians, but also a lot of, you know, international students that come to study in London. Right. So yeah, there's those events as well. And they're quite fun.
Yeah, I did hear even in past years about Abacus. That's like the university kind of Asian.
Yeah, that's like a university society where like they hold not only nightclub events, but also like, you know, eating events and like maybe like sports events. But yeah, I feel like Abacus, you know, I made a lot of friends that were Asian at university through Abacus.
What about TSQ the spot you're talking about?
Not to name any names. That's the spot.
What about K Events, Horizon Club, HD Life?
Yeah, you got K Events. So K Events happens every month, I want to say, and that's always sold out. I think that has like maybe like 30 or 50K on Instagram. Is that
Korean events?
Yeah, they play Korean music. Asian people
it's the
do
poppin'
go.
One. K anything is popping right now.
True, but at the same time, you get like the Asian fetishizers that go as well, like with them kind of girls.
Asian fetishizers.
So like
you fetishizers. You fetishizers. I'm just kidding.
So yeah, like if you're looking for like not those kind of people, then like you wouldn't go there, right? Like I haven't been there in like 3-4 years.
Word. Yeah. I mean, I guess like when you come to New York or LA or the Bay, when you visited all those places, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So like when you go to these big clubs that's like all Asian, K-Town, LA, they got multiple clubs. You come to Mission, you go here, Den Social, blah, blah, blah. You come here, are you just like, damn, this is like the most poppin' UK event, but like every weekend?
100%. Yeah, I literally went to Mission, like last weekend?
Right.
And yeah, like even though, you know, it's February, it's really cold, right? Freezing. There's still people there.
It's bare cold, man.
Yeah, it's bare cold, fam. It's bare cold. But no, they're fun. It'd be debatable whether the average UK person would like those kind of clubs because they play, you know, EDM. I feel like EDM hasn't really, I don't know, spread to the UK scene yet. Maybe to the olders. But not too many Gen Z.
UK Asians are still more on the R&B, hip hop.
R&B, hip hop for sure. Pop, like K-pop, stuff like that.
I could vibe with that. Like EDM's cool, but I'm more leaning R&B, hip hop when I go out for sure. You know.
Yeah, no, you are. Yeah, but I feel like Asians in general, like they like a bit of EDM even if you're not really into it, right?
Right, yeah,
In the US.
yeah. The melodic stuff.
Melodic dubstep.
You are a piece of me. That stuff, yeah.
No, shout out those guys, man.
Yeah, but all right, man. I one last question is like, I know we were speaking about East Asians and primarily it's going to be Chinese and Chinese Viet, but I guess for the brown Asians, the South Asians, that's more of the default Asian in the UK. Do you know that they have their own organizations and like, you know, their version of Abacus, their version of these do they have nightlife? Because I will tell you this, in New York, there is a lot of South Asians, but only literally this past year and a half are there even really like Indian bars that are primarily Indian people. Like they were a little bit late on the nightlife game, and maybe that's a cultural, could be a religious thing, whatever. But like, are they getting it? Are they getting popping out there?
I mean, they definitely have more of an identity, right? Like we're kind of saying, they definitely have, you know, the numbers. I don't know how many percentage-wise, but there are a lot of those guys. I think there are like Indian-themed bars. I've never been to any myself, of course. But yeah, they have their events going on, kind of similar to the events we were talking about, where they're like every so often. And they really do have their own community as well. Like, you know, the stereotype is, you know, a lot of these guys like to drive fast cars, maybe go to like the shisha lounge with their friends. But yeah, you don't only find these guys in London. You get pockets of, you know, South Asians hanging out together in Birmingham, you know, Bradford, and like, you know, places up north as well. So they definitely have their own thing going, and they have had their thing going, you know, a lot longer than East Asians. So yeah, shout out to these guys, man. Yeah, they're pretty cool with us as well. You know, like we hang out together a lot as well. So
dope, man. Yeah. Well, man, I feel like you broke it down pretty well. I mean, I feel like this conversation could go on for another hour possibly, but I don't know. I got to make a trip to London. I mean, I'm out in New York. It's
hey,
really
come through, man. Come through. I'll show you around.
All right, guys. If you found that video interesting, please hit subscribe. Hit that like button. Check out other episodes of the Hot Pot Boys. My brother David is still in Bangkok. But yeah, check out Will Sue's stuff down below. And yeah, a real Asian bloke right here.
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.